My guest today is an actor who has appeared in films such as Ransom, Apollo 13, and of course Forrest Gump, where he portrayed Lieutenant Dan. For the past 8 years, he starred as Detective Mac Taylor on C.S.I. New York. He's also a musician and co-founder of the Lieutenant Dan Band, and they're going to be performing at Six Flags Great Adventure on August 18th. It's my pleasure to welcome to the program Gary Sinise. Gary, thanks for being on.
Well, thanks for having me.
The first time I heard of the Lieutenant Dan Band, it was a couple years ago, but I have to be honest, before that, I didn't realize you were a musician. You're a bass player, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long have you played?
Gosh, I had my first guitar in fourth grade or something. I think I played bass in my first band when I was in seventh grade, and then played through high school. And
was this something you ever considered, doing professionally?
Well, I actually played music before I started acting. I had my first guitar in fourth grade, played through high school and into my 20s, but I started acting when I was in high school as a sophomore, and so I was playing in bands and acting in plays, and then it became clear to me that acting was the thing that I was going to primarily focus on, and I started a theater company in Chicago with some pals right when I got out of high school, and then I just got so busy with acting that playing music just I put that aside, and I didn't play for many years until the late 90s. I picked it up again, and then just for fun, I was playing with some guys in Chicago, and then after I started doing USO shows or tours, I would go on tour and just as an actor go out and shake hands and take pictures, and I did that 5 or 6 times, and then I was able to talk to USO and to let me take a group of musicians with me that I played with for fun, and that began a series of concerts. I very much wanted to continue supporting our troops and doing what I can to help, and I've just folded the band into the overall mission of giving back to our men and women in uniform. And
some of the guys in the band are actually really old friends of yours, right?
Well, I had met Kimo Williams, who is the co-founder of the band with me. He's the one that I struck up a friendship with in the late 90s, and we just started playing together for fun. And, after 5 or 6 handshake tours with the USO, I talked him into letting me take Kimo and some of the other musicians that we played with on a tour. And, this wasn't a band at that time. It was just like a jam group, some guys that would get together every once in a while. But the USO let me do that, and I told Kimo, look, if we're gonna do this, I can't be an actor who goes out there with a band and have us be terrible. So we're gonna have to start rehearsing, and so we really put a lot of effort into making the band a quality band, and now we've played hundreds of shows all over the world, and raised a lot of money. I take the band to different charity events, and obviously this show that we're going to do in New Jersey, actually some of the proceeds are going to go to support some good things.
Well, the decision to call yourselves Lieutenant Dan Band, I love that. I think it was Leonard Nimoy had his famous autobiography, I Am Not Spock. And I kind of like the fact that you've embraced the Lieutenant Dan character and, just said to heck with it. Let's call the band Lieutenant Dan Band. You've met with, as you said, many of the troops. Have you found that they really relate to that character?
Well, it became clear to me at a certain point, and, that movie is constantly seen. I mean, people watch that film all the time. It's always on television. And so the character keeps being, re-energized in some way. And when I started doing these tours for the USO, it was back before I was doing C.S.I. New York, and so people didn't know me very well, and they would recognize my face from the Forrest Gump movie and just call me Lieutenant Dan. They wouldn't know what my real name was. So I just figured, if I'm going to take a band with me, I want them to know who it is. I can't just say it's Gary Sinise's band, coming, and then they'll go, well, who's that? But if I put Lieutenant Dan on there, they'll probably know who it is. So it was catchy, and now it's Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan band.
For you personally, where does the passion come from for the troops? Is this rooted in your family?
I think, yeah, that's part of it. I have veterans on both my side of the family and my wife's side of the family. On her side of the family, it's Vietnam veterans. Her two brothers served in Vietnam, and her sister was in the Army and married a Vietnam veteran who stayed in the Army for 22 years. So, and then I have, Vietnam veteran friends. Chemo's a Vietnam veteran, and I have other Vietnam veteran pals. I got involved way back in the early 80s with Vietnam veterans groups in the Chicago area. There's actually a memorial in Lansing, Illinois, that I helped to raise money to build back in the 80s, and just felt a lot of compassion for what happened to our Vietnam veterans when they came home from war. And I think that's partially a motivating factor for me to be so aggressive here with my commitment to giving back to our men and women active duty folks today, is to make sure that what happened to our Vietnam veterans doesn't happen to them, that they know that they're appreciated. And if they see somebody on television and then the next thing they see them on a base or in the war zone or at the hospital or playing music at a military charity or something like that, they know that there's somebody out there that we recognize that cares. And I think that can make a difference. I think having a strong military and a strong service is important to our country and important to our defense, obviously. And so I try to do what I can to make sure that they know that they're appreciated. I think I'm also motivated by what happened on September 11th, and I got involved with many firefighters groups, in New York City after that day. They were on the front line of the battle that day, and I very much wanted to do what I could to support them, so I got involved with the FDNY and have supported the building of a memorial in Brooklyn called the Brooklyn Wall of Remembrance, and a lot of these firefighters are going to be at the concert in New Jersey, and it's a big appreciation day, and I'm going to have a lot of friends there coming out to that concert, people that I've known, and met because of what happened on September 11th, and just important to, I know there's a difference that I can make, and I enjoy trying to play a part.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people forget, because it happened in New York, how big the loss was felt in New Jersey that day, and how many people we lost.
Well, yes, and that's we're coming there to celebrate, and show appreciation to the families who lost a loved one on that day, and to keep raising money for good causes that are doing good things, and I'm just privileged to be able to play a little part in that.
I'm glad that you brought up the Vietnam vets, because I think, personally, in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes we as a nation made was how we handled the Vietnam vets. And you get out there and you do get to meet with a lot of the troops, who are around the world. Do they know that we care about them? Do they feel that? Because I wouldn't want to ever see us do again to the troops what we did to the Vietnam vets.
Well, then, like I said, that's a big motivator for me. I can't speak for every single veteran out there. I know that, I've heard from a lot of people that say that they do feel appreciated. There's certainly many, many military charities and military awareness things going on now that weren't happening back during the Vietnam days. Those days were so divisive, and I mean, you could come home from Vietnam feeling like, wow, I made it, and I'm home, and I'm proud to be an American, and be home, and then you walk out of the airport and somebody throws a bag of crap on you, and calls you a baby killer. I mean, how can you imagine that? surviving the jungles of Vietnam, feeling like you served your country, and then you come home and the citizens, spit on you and throw on you.
Yeah, and you're over there so that the rest of us can have freedom.
Yeah, look, we had a draft back then. That was a big part of the divisive thing, is we were drafting people that didn't approve of the war or didn't like the war or whatever. That's why having an all-volunteer service is so important, I think. You don't want to, if we can have volunteers join the service rather than drafting people, I think is better for the military. But at that time, we were drafting people, and people were, mad, and on the college campuses everywhere, they were going crazy, and the guys that were going over there to serve just got the bad end of the deal.
Yeah.
We just can't ever let that happen again. It weakened our nation. It was a shameful period in our history. And so I just try to do what I can, having Vietnam veterans in my family and knowing what happened to them. I just try to do what I can to make sure that, folks that are serving our country today know that, people care.
Well, you recently started a foundation, and it's dedicated to serving, honor, and need. Can you tell me a little bit about the Gary Sinise Foundation?
Yeah, the foundation is kind of an extension. It's just a natural extension of what I've been doing for several years. And it became clear to me that having, raised millions of dollars for many, many military charities, deserving military charities, it was time to start my own foundation to be able to raise additional funds to help support some of the things that I'm interested in supporting. And I know that I can, I have the ability, the capability, to raise funds for things that I feel, for places and efforts that I feel I can make a difference in. And so the foundation was set up, to continue the work that I've been doing, on a grander scale. And one of the programs that we're involved in is the partnership with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to build homes for very severely wounded warriors, and that through our Building for America's Bravest program. So the foundation is doing great things. We're involved in a lot of different projects ourselves. We're trying to serve and honor the needs of our military men and women, our first responders, our veterans, our Gold Star families that serve and protect and defend and sacrifice for us each and every day.
Well, if our listeners would like to get involved, what are some of the ways they can contribute to the Gary Sinise Foundation?
You just go to GarySiniseFoundation.org, and you can investigate, some of the things that I've been up to over the years, and some of the things that the foundation is, supporting. You can learn about, what some of the programs that we're doing. You can buy merchandise. You can do all kinds of things. If you go to GarySiniseFoundation.org, you'll learn a bit more about it. And if you go to ltdanband.com, you can learn about the band and what the band's been up to.
All right. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people are going to come out and see the band play at Great Adventure on the 18th. If they've never seen the Lieutenant Dan Band live before, can you give me a little idea of what they can expect?
It's a great show. And people are going to have a great time. It's a cover band. We play a lot of great songs, but it's a high energy, uplifting show, and there's something for everybody. We play songs that the kids are going to like, and we play songs for older veterans and everything in between. The music selection is something that I put together, and based on how I want the energy of the show to flow.
And the great thing right now is if they head over to sixflags.com, they can use the promotion code LTDAN and actually save half off admission. So can't beat that.
That's pretty good. That's great. So I hope a lot of folks come out. I'm very much looking forward to being there, and they're playing for everybody that night.
Hey, you just had a documentary released about the band, right? Yes,
you can go to ltdanbandmovie.com, And there's a documentary film. It's all about the band and the work that I've been doing to support our troops. And
how'd that movie come about?
a buddy of mine found out that I was, I met this guy. He's a filmmaker, and he found out that I was doing all that stuff with the military and everything. And he asked if he could, maybe shoot one of our shows. And I let him come and shoot something, a show that we did for something called Snowball Express, which is an organization that brings together, over 1,000 kids who have lost a mom or dad in the war. And we bring these kids together, and they meet each other, and they bond with each other because they're all going through the grieving process of losing their mom or dad in battle. And we give them a great time, and I play a concert, and this guy came and shot that concert, and that was back in 2007, I think. And his name's Jonathan Flora, and he shot that concert, and then asked if he could shoot some more, and I said, well, okay. So he followed me around for a while, and even over to Iraq. I did a trip over there, not with the band, but I just went over and visited troops, and he came with a camera and put this lovely documentary together. And it even shows the Brooklyn Wall of Remembrance that I talked about in Brooklyn. I'd raised money for that. We actually had the dedication and opening of that memorial during the time that he was following me with the camera. So that's actually in there too. He did a lovely job with the documentary, and it shows what the band's been up to and what I've been up to.
Gary, I want to thank you again for taking the time to be with me today. My family and I will be at Great Adventure on August 18th and look forward to seeing you.
Thanks for spreading the word. I'd appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
You take care.
All right, here's Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band featuring Gina Gonzalez on vocals and a song called A Letter Home.
I am wise beyond my years, show my pride and hide my fears, and carry only what I need. I keep memories in my heart that light the way when it's dark, and give me strength when I am weak. Believe in hope and honesty, trust in faith and trust in me. I am your son, I am your daughter. I stand for freedom and for honor, and I am brave, my love is pure, and I'd sacrifice my life for yours. Traveled all around the world, but home is still my favorite word. I'm here so you don't have to be. The sound of music makes me wild, and the thought of loved ones makes me smile. You can't take that away from me, and always faithful I will be. So all I ask is please pray for me, 'cause I am your son, I am your daughter, and I stand for freedom and for honor, and I am brave, my love is pure, and I'd sacrifice my life for yours. Against a wall of stone to fight for what I believe. Oh, and I might not live to watch my children grow, but I die just to keep them safe and free. Oh, and I will be forever true to the red, white, and blue. 'Cause I am your son, I am your daughter, and I stand for freedom, and I stand for honor, and I am brave, my love is pure, and I'd sacrifice my life for yours, 'cause I am a soldier, 'cause I am a soldier, 'cause I am a soldier, 'cause I am a soldier.